fucking topics open. I've got all the
Yeah,
things.
you're set up.
This requires my organizational skills, so it's gonna go great.
Oh, okay. So basically, we're screwed.
Yeah, basically. This requires my organizational skills, so it's gonna go great.
Oh, okay. So basically, we're screwed. All right. Hmm. I feel like this is gonna end very poorly for me.
It's gonna end poorly for me because
For you, just
all
you.
right, Josh is here. What's up?
Oh,
Hey.
on Josh. Let's go.
Yeah.
So who's debating who here?
What'd you say,
Can,
Bishop?
can you turn your mic or up a little bit?
Yeah.
Hang on.
Oh god, that is a
Just
bad mic.
say like a sentence just to test it real quick.
Hello. Can you hear
That's
me?
good. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Are you on the
Cool.
wrong mic, or is that really just your mic?
Alright.
I have
Silent
this mic is
spectator.
checked up.
Do not mind me.
Yes. It's silent spectator.
Not you. But
So who am I? Who's debating who? In this
Okay, so
thing?
the debate. Okay, so basically, you're doing the first 3 topics. Pond is doing the last 2. Koda is the person you're debating against. He's the leftist dude.
All right.
yeah, I'm the
Yeah.
libtard here.
Yeah. All right.
Basically, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna get wrecked by these 2 conservatives.
It's gonna be very epic.
Have some faith, man.
Yeah, so the way this is, I guess it's 8 o'clock, so I'll just say, audience members, I'm just gonna just stay on mute and, or I can serve mute you or whatever, but yeah, so you guys can just listen, and then after the end of each round, there's 5 rounds, you guys can vote in, Nevada, text chat, who you think won, and then that'll be how we decide who wins each round, I guess.
Yeah, don't be biased.
Don't be biased, or you'll be executed.
Unless it's in favor of me, then it's fine.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's fine though. In Minecraft. Anyway, yeah. So basically, so each round I've got a 20-minute timer. So I'm just gonna have one side give a bit of an intro to their side of the argument, and then the other person's side can go, or the other person can go, and then after that you guys can do mostly whatever. I'm gonna fucking stop you from just personally attacking each other for the entire 20 minutes, but for the most part.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit personal attacks are okay, but if you just go
Come
on,
on, you're telling me we can't make insults?
Yeah.
you can call each other fucking libtards or megatards or whatever, but I don't. Yeah. So and then also the topics we're gonna do is so number 1's is illegal immigration bad for the economy? Number 2 is should the electoral college be abolished? Sorry, I'm stumbling over words. It's fine. Number 3 is should trans people transition? Is that actually good for them? Number 4 is should gay marriage be legal? Sorry. And then number 5 is should the U.S. Government implement Medicare for all? And if both sides agree on a topic, then I'm gonna replace that topic with should we defund the police? Basically.
All right.
All right. Cool. So Bishop, you're doing the first 3 topics.
Yep.
All right. Cool. Do you have do you guys have a preference on who goes first for the opening statements, I guess?
I'll give the floor to whatever he wants to do. I'll go first if he wants to. I don't care.
Well, I mean, I guess I guess I'll go first if you don't mind.
Okay, I think I understood what he just said. Let's hope so.
All right. Once he starts talking, I'll just start the timer. So.
Okay.
All right. Wait, are we starting now?
Yep, starting now.
Yeah.
Okay. So, is illegal immigration bad for the economy? I think it is. It does help the economy because you're adding more, more workers, and that results in, more money, stuff like that. I really couldn't find any accurate statistics based on last year or this year about it, or anything that was, trustworthy. So I'll just go by history and say that, you know, it worked when it came to. I mean, I'm not making any, you know, funny jokes or anything, but it seriously worked when they did it with child labor and slavery. So I don't see why it wouldn't work with illegal immigrants. So my answer to that question is that it is good for the economy. That's about all I can say.
I agree. It is good for the economy. I'm sorry. So your mic is really bad, I do have to say, and it's hard to understand. But you were saying, could you just repeat really quickly what you said about the child labor and slavery part?
Crap. Let me try. Here's the Here's the thing. I'm not like casting any funny jokes or anything, but and I couldn't find any accurate statistics or like anything trustworthy based on this year last year when it came to the economy and specifically illegal immigrants. But I'll go by history and say that if it worked for, I'm not casting any funny jokes, but if it worked for slavery and child labor, then it will definitely work with illegal immigrants. So the answer is yes, it is good for the economy.
Yeah, I expected more pushback from this one, but yeah, I mean, I think you seem smart enough to actually follow the statistics on this one and know that it
Yep.
does help the economy. So wow, this is gonna be a pretty long 20 minutes. I had
Okay, yeah, that was what a long thing. I think I wasn't expecting you guys to agree on that, so I should probably clarified your positions on that.
yeah,
But
we probably should
yeah.
have got some more controversial topics.
That is a good point. Well, that's a good point. I'll find some more controversial topics while this next one is being discussed. So since you both agreed, I guess that doesn't really count. I'll just reset the timer for next round. All right, so that went all right. So the second topic we're doing is should the Electoral College be abolished in the United States? I'm just going to specify in the United States. I'm starting the timer. You guys can decide who wants to go first, and then
It's your turn.
yeah, then I'll start the timer.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I
good
guess I'll
point.
go
That is a
first.
good point.
Yeah. So basically, with the electoral college, I think it should be abolished, just because mostly, you know, the United States we talk about being a democracy, but I think this kind of representative democracy that we have, I think it's more of a misnomer because the majority of Americans favor replacing electoral college with a nationwide popular vote, as well as you see many cases, as in like Donald Trump winning, you know, with a non-popular vote, but winning the electoral college, as well as I think it was Bill Clinton, I want to say, in 2000, where he won the electoral college but not the popular vote. And I think it just kind of undermines what, you know, the United States tries to stand for.
All right, Bishop.
My turn?
Yep, that sounds
Oh,
yeah.
all right. Well, my argument here is that since the you know, the minority voters. Okay, so how the electoral college, the way it works, is that as we know, is that the majority voters that vote for a specific political party, their voices will be heard, but the minority who vote for the other political party, their voices will not be heard. So that seems unfair to me. And that's why I believe that the Electoral College should be abolished, simply because it undermines, like he said, it undermines the American citizens who do not, you know, who vote for the losing party.
Yeah.
This is going much more poorly than I thought. I really assumed you'd disagree on a lot of things. This is gonna become some fucking
I think we'll
century
get to
project.
some more spicy topics
Yeah.
a little bit later on.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I'll find another topic to replace that one. Don't worry. This one's more spicy. Should trans people
Oh, I
transition?
don't even get a response to what he said?
Oh wait, I thought you guys agreed on that. I guess I misheard.
No, I do not believe he was agreeing with me, unless I heard.
Bishop, do you say
What was
yes or no
your?
to
I said it
Do you
should
like?
be abolished, and I do
Yeah,
not.
I did
Oh, so
too.
Oh, did you?
yeah,
Okay,
he said yeah.
Yeah.
That's why. Yeah,
okay.
this is going great. Okay,
This
well,
is
now question 3. I'm assuming you guys disagree on the question of should trans people transition. Like, is it good for them?
okay. Your turn, Bishop.
All right. Could you? All right. Can everyone hear me clearly? A little bit, by the way.
We can hear you
Yeah.
clearly, ish. It's kind of like choppy a bit.
Oof. Microphone's a bit busted. Sorry about that. But here's my word on this subject. It's that I did some research on that, and it turns out that, and as I read, it's like the transgender people, when someone decides they want to transgender, they're most often diagnosed with a mental illness called gender dysphoria, which is what makes them feel like that they are not exactly who they are, or they do not feel like their body's their right body, which is a real medical condition, according to my source. So, and I believe that allowing them to actually go through the process of making them change their appearance to look like the gender they want to be, I feel like that will make their mental illness worse, and that will, basically make things. It kills their mental health because it's just feeding their, delusions. You're supporting their delusions, and instead of giving them mental health and treatment they need, you're instead just making it worse for them. So my solution to that would be, instead of letting them letting them transition, I feel like that they would be better off with mental health. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Okay. Yeah, so when it comes to I'll just go like point by point what you made. When it comes to gender dysphoria, it's actually no longer classified as a mental illness by the WHO, the World Health Organization, as long with many other associations like the Psychological Association, Medical Association, and I can name a couple more. And it is no longer considered a mental illness, and they consider that an old, diagnosis that they had from some transphobic past. And when you said it has a negative effect on people, uh, actually, there was a meta-analysis on transgender people where the effect of gender transition, where they talked about the effect of gender transition on their mental health. And out of 56 studies, 52 indicated transitioning had a positive effect, and 4 indicated it had mixed or no results. 0 studies actually indicated that gender transitioning had negative effects.
Can I make an argument? Yes, I can.
Your audio is really choppy right now.
Here, you don't give. Okay,
Oh,
here I'm
okay, it's
an
good now.
analogy
It's good now.
here. Would you give an alcoholic? Well, I mean, wait, what was that?
I was saying your audio is choppy, but it's good now. It improved.
Oh, okay, cool. The way I view it is that it's like you're giving an alcoholic more alcohol. It solves their, it gets their jitters down and makes them, makes them stop wanting the alcohol, makes them feel happier. But in the long run, that causes medical conditions. And being accurate, my point to make here is that, okay, all right, let's start with the part where he said that it was, okay, I'll get to the more important part, when he said that it was no longer considered a mental illness. According to my source, it was that what he did say was true, but why would they? It's strange to me how they would just suddenly change their minds like that. Because first it was World Health Organization, no, it was first the some other place, I can't think of the name right now, but they were medical professionals, and they all agreed that it was a mental illness. But then they decided that then they doubled back, and now the freaking health organizations say that it's no longer a mental illness. Like, that's pretty indecisive. Like
Yeah.
how it seems like they're not even sure. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes with, medical professionals have changed their mind in the past, and they revise this point, especially because, of changing times in our current modern day where, more gender identities and sexual identities are becoming commonplace. And they decided to revisit this, and it's the same way as medical professionals in, the early 1900s thought that, black people just had better knees than, white people, and stuff like that. I mean, there was all these cases before where scientists would come to racist conclusions and all this stuff. But as times change and you tend to move away from this, they tend to revisit and reconsider and say, no, this isn't a mental illness. This is just something that happens in life, and we shouldn't be pushing away from it because studies have shown that people who reject or do not gender transition, even though they have the feeling of gender dysphoria, actually, worsen in mental health.
Right. So that's why they, I think that's why they need therapy, to be honest.
Oh, I agree. I believe that, everyone should go to therapy here and there. I think it's good for you.
Well, I mean, specifically for that reason, for the transgender thing.
Yeah,
But
there's
to,
gender like therapy specialists. Right now, they're just not as
yeah,
easy easily accessible as they should be.
yeah, and I'm going to make another consideration that it's they really need to find a freaking another way to diagnose mental illness. Like how it's very hard to trust them when they can't when you first say that it's a mental illness, then it's not. Because then I mean, who do you go to? Who makes the real decision? Like how do you know when to trust them? Like how do you know when they're actually right? That's my question for you.
I mean, you could basically say this for any topic. I feel like I think this is a pretty vague point, if I'm being honest, of just, how do we know if the scientists are right or not at the time? And this is, of course, a lot of, when it comes to gender dysphoria, that's a lot of, sociology and psychology into it. And it's harder to, do like a brain scan and be like, yep, this person's trans. Like, you can't really do that. So, like, I get where you're coming from, but like I think, just given what we're given, where just we notice that, when people are allowed to transition, their mental health gets better. I think we should just take that as that and just be like, okay, then why don't we support those people?
Mm, yeah, I should have made my point a little bit more specific. You know what? I really can't come up with any other excuse to say so because apparently it's no. Yeah, I think that's really all I got.
All right, so I guess that's the end of that round. Do we do voting now?
Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a type just type like B if you think Bishop won that round, and you type or K in the like Nevada text chat if you think Koda won that. Yeah.
Let's go Pond.
Burger King. Yeah, I can see this being exceptionally biased. Yeah, okay, so I guess Kodite wins. I'd say that I would also agree that he won because Bishop kind of conceded the point at the end, which would indicate him like losing that specific point. I was just gonna say real quick because we did go through those first two topics really fast. That was insane. Because you both agreed. But so Pond, I just want to say just like specify Pond, you and Aiden or Kodite, I guess you guys both you guys like agree on the gay marriage should be legal thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Okay, and
both
then
agree
Bishop,
it should be illegal, right? And you should be
Bishop,
executed for being gay, right?
Okay, that's well. I mean, that's pretty based, but also so I'm okay. So, but Bishop, what do you think about gay marriage? Because I might be able to just like we might be able to just do this one if because they both agree on that. So
Gay marriage, yeah, there's no problem with gay marriage to me.
goddamn. Okay.
God damn it! Why are you like the most like base conservatives I know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Can you just
All
like can
right.
you like flip the white supremacist switch real quick, please?
Oh my god. Okay.
Sure, I can.
Oh, actually, okay. Well, one of the questions that we've got is, should we defund the police? And that's kind of tied in with. I was considering like, is BLM valid as like a topic? So, but that kind of goes with that. So, all right, Pond. Do you want to do the Medicare for? Do you want to do topic 5 then, or?
Sure thing, yeah.
All right. So, Bishop, you can just like take a break, I guess. We'll come back to you in a second, but so topic 5, we're gonna do like, should the U.S. implement Medicare for all? Is that like a good idea? Should we do that?
Honestly, I don't really believe that. You know, like, I'm gonna sound like an asshole here, but I honestly don't believe everyone should just have the right to healthcare. Like, um, like maybe there can be a little bit of government programs to help, but mm, come on, you know what I mean.
Um, yeah, I don't know what point I'm really supposed to respond to. So I'll just make an opening statement myself, in which I would say people have the right to Medicare for all. I mean, technically speaking, our Declaration of Independence states that the United States, of course, I'm assuming you live in the United States, where it says, you have unalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I would say life and the pursuit of happiness. I think you pretty much need Medicare if you want that. I mean, it just like saves lives. So I kind of think people deserve it.
Yeah, I get that. Though, uh, uh, honestly, I came unprepared. But I'll try anyway. Um, anyway, I do believe that. Well, anyway, what I believe is that um, uh, if you, uh, uh, if you don't have the money to pay for it, then um, uh, I guess maybe there can be a little help in there, but yeah.
I mean, that's basically what Medicare for all is. It's like if you don't have the money, you get Medicare. I mean, depending on who you talk to, I believe private insurance should be abolished. But I mean, first step always is just like, baseline, Obama cares about you, but except, slightly better than Obamacare.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, this is going so horribly.
Yeah, you couldn't find me some white supremacist, Jason?
I'm sorry, I don't know any white supremacists. They all get banned from the servers. Oh, shut the fuck up, real quick. Somebody else is next to me.
Oh, that's mean.
I can't. I don't know any white supremacists. Supremacists like. Actually, no, I do know one. All right, he's next. I'll see if we can get him next time.
Can I just start pretending like I'm a white supremacist?
No, please don't. I would rather not that right now.
Okay, you know how base I
Don't
am.
talk about skull shapes right now, please.
I was gonna talk about the IQ gap, like.
God. Okay.
Hey guys, did you guys say you wanted to find a white supremacist? Or you wanted one to join? I know a guy.
I know
shit.
a guy. I know a guy.
I know a guy
I know
who's
a
really
guy.
racist. Don't worry, guys.
He's pretty cool. Don't worry.
Yeah. I think that went pretty okay. Okay, thanks, Crackman. Yeah, I guess we can go
This guy has to move
say
to
like
supremacist.
Yeah, I guess just type K if you think Kodite won, and type P if you think Pond won. Yeah. Okay, well. All right. Well, that was pretty good then.
You suck at this, Jason.
I'm really bad at organization.
You should
stuff,
have asked
sorry.
this beforehand, like what we agreed on and what we didn't.
I should have asked. That's a good point. That should have been asked by me to you. So.
Yeah.
All right. Who wants to do? I guess we'll just say like who wants to do like defunding the police. I guess.
I guess I will.
Do you wanna?
The problem is I
you-
might agree with him.
Okay, who here says that we should? Does anyone here disagree with the idea of defunding the police?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, both of you disagree. Okay. Pond or Bishop, which one do you guys want to do?
Well, I mean,
defunding the police.
Yeah. Well, I think Bishop said.
Honestly, I would do this one, but I have a terrible nosebleed right now. Like I literally brought my laptop into the bathroom just so that I could do this.
Yeah, that
are
sounds
you okay?
Yeah.
I'm probably okay. I think it just happens when I drink too much.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
that makes sense.
Yes, alcohol addiction.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. I'm gonna start the timer over. This is going by way faster than I thought it would be. I'm gonna try to be more prepared next time. All right. So, who wants to make opening remarks first?
Okay, please.
Okay. So when it comes to defunding the police, I have a pretty cringe stance on this, but basically, I believe in defunding the police if the money actually goes somewhere, like if it goes to like, increase help in like therapy sessions with people, because people with mental illnesses, if they actually get therapy, they will probably not commit as much crime. Or things like social help or social workers and stuff like that. But I also can see the point of increasing the funding of police if that comes along with police having to go through more training and having to go through more different types of training, just so they're not only taught how to shoot a gun and handle how to shoot someone, but also how to handle situations with people with mental illness.
All right. Yes, that moves. So I believe that we should not defund the police because they usually use most of that money, if not all of it, to fund their training and their equipment. And they need, because the thing is, better training means they make better decisions. So if they can't afford like the proper equipment, like bullets to practice with, they need tasers to practice with, equipment, Kevlar. So they need they need so and the other thing is that if they got but yeah, training funding, they need more money for like being able to I think that's about it.
So to clarify your position, you want to increase police funding for better training than Bishop?
No, not to increase it, but to keep it like it is.
Keep police funding the same as it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you want
to increase it?
Would you want to like move the funds anywhere or just keep them where they're at?
Sorry, what was that?
Like, would you want to move the funds around any way, or you think they're just fine where they're at?
The thing is, if you increase police funding, then that goes into the taxpayers. It goes into like everyone's tax money. So I think just let them keep doing their job would be best.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, I think police are actually quite underpaid. I'm not gonna lie. I think they are not paid enough for what they do.
Yeah.
But
we put them on very high standards.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just in general, I mean, I think I can see your point, just keeping it where it at, but I think, either increase funding if that comes along with more training, or, decrease funding if that means, the money's actually, doing something helpful. Because I mean, like, we have plenty of money to go around. Like, our military budget is like 600 billion, like, we can diverge a little bit here and there.
Are you like 100% positive, or are you just making a probability?
Just like, I mean, I don't really like care that much about the police. So this isn't like a super interesting topic for me. So this is like a proposition basically.
Thing is, we rely on the police to protect our lives in the state of emergency. So how do you think? So when you want to motivate them more by supporting them, you not by necessarily making the government increase their funds, which can result in higher tax rates, but to just stop trying to defund them. You know, show them that show them give them more motivation to do their job.
Yeah, I mean, police are held, I would say until recently, like in common culture, I feel like police are held to, extremely high standards, but they're also put at like this extra, above the law kind of thing. And when I think there are a lot of problems with police. That's the thing. That's why I don't believe completely, you know, in the police right now, is because there's a lot of problems with them. And I do agree though, they are like, in our current, in the United States, we do need them. Like you're not gonna, when you're getting stabbed, you're not gonna call a social worker. Like I think they are
Uh,
needed,
could,
but
could you elaborate on some of the problems? Could you give me a few examples?
um things like racism and stuff, like how 80% of like there's like a 80% increase of like black overrepresentation in prisons, um and like there's unexplained proportion largely attributed to like racial bias, and then like 85% of vehicle stops in like Ferguson for example, like they were like 90% of them were black people, despite like only making up 60% of the population in that specific place. And it's like black people are like, more likely to be pulled over, more likely to be get charged with, possession of weed, even though studies have shown that white and black people smoke weed at the same rates. And arrested 80% more likely. Judges are more likely to give them a longer sentence. Like black male offenders receive 19.1% longer federal sentences than similarly situated white offenders, like, and stuff like that. Like there's a ton of stuff like that where it's mainly like implicit bias and like, underlying racism that happens, stuff like that. I mean, I have anecdotal evidence, but that's no fun.
Okay, well, that's a lot of questions. I'm not sure a lot of arguments I'm not sure where to start at, but I guess I'll start with the court bias. Could you could you exactly? Well, actually, let's go to the when you mentioned when they pulled them over for being black. Could you tell me exactly why a police officer would go through the trouble of pulling over a man, getting out of his car, at running, asking for his license registration, going back to his car, doing all the work to register it and to make sure everything's good, go back there and let's hypothetically speaking, let's say he finds weed in his car and arrests him for drug charges. Then he has to take the guy, put him in the back of his car, drive him to the station, search him, put him in a cell, and then he has to file paperwork because of that. So why would they go through so much trouble and do so much work just because of a man's race? You know,
That's just like
any
how
man.
racism is. I mean,
But
pretty
that
messed
seems
up.
like that
I
that seems like a very poor excuse.
I'm
Like
gonna
it doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm gonna
How,
jump
what their
in here
how
real
their
quick.
race would just
Um,
okay.
sorry. I was just gonna say we're getting kind of off topic, so I was just gonna say everybody can just vote right now on who won the defund the police thing, and then we're gonna move on to the next topic, which is BLM valid? Because that's kind of what we're talking about right now. Is basically like police bias and stuff. So that's gonna be like the next topic, kind of a continuation of the last one. So like you can basically just continue having your current discussion and like yeah, just to make it a bit more organized.
Sounds fair.
You guys can keep talking, by the way. Just like right now.
Yeah, it was just like, I think police should have more training in like implicit bias training, which is a thing that's recently, come up with that idea, to make sure that, basically police aren't disproportionately arresting or stopping, black people. Like, for example, in, New York, when stop and frisk was a thing, like it would just be constantly just like it was like overwhelmingly black people are being stopped and frisked compared to white people being stopped and frisked, and whether or not the cop actually knows what they're doing is a different story. But I mean, it happens a lot, like this implicit bias, and it can be stopped. There is training you can do, and that's why I have problems with the police.
I wish there was more. It doesn't seem to me, in my opinion, my view of the matter is that how are you going to hold every single one of them accountable for racism when that's just. I mean, you can't read their minds, so you don't know for sure which one of them are racist. So how do you plan to weed them out? And how do you know you're going to be able to prevent it? Hypothetically assuming that they are all racist, or mostly. So how will you know?
I'm not saying we're gonna like weed out the racist or anything, like we're gonna find some guy with his KKK suit on or anything. I'm basically just saying, like, a lot of the, I don't believe, most cops actively like go on the search and be like, I'm gonna find myself a black person today to beat up or anything like that. I think it's mainly just like the subconscious, or the, we call it implicit bias, which is, a real thing which has been studied basically. And it's like and there is training, like I was saying, implicit bias training that can help, the cops who don't, who aren't actively racist, to try to get rid of the implicit biases they may have, which could lead to, them stopping pulling over black people disproportionately, arresting them, or, them getting convicted, or blah 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 blah, stuff like that.
Can you give me one example, like one scenario, like one case about something that you were very certain that was because the cop was racist? Can you give me like one incident as an example?
George Floyd.
George Floyd, who died of a drug overdose.
George Floyd did not die of a overdose. I do have to say, you're referring to the first autopsy, which was extremely suspicious, and that's why they redid it. And the redid autopsy did find he died of asphyxiation caused by the knee on his neck for 8 minutes by the officer. And even if, for some goddamn reason, he died of an overdose, which he didn't, the cop's knee was still on his neck for that long.
How do you know that the motive was racism? How do you know that the cop wasn't just being stupid? How do you know it wasn't an accident? How do you know it was? How do you know it was specifically because the cop was racist?
Because this disproportionately happens to black people. In a confrontation between a black person.
No, I'm talking about this one cop. How do you know that this one cop was racist?
I mean, I don't know 100%, let's say, for sure, that cop was racist. But I'm just saying, in general, many of these cops are probably racist, or racist and they don't know they're racist. Because, okay, I don't know, Pon said something stupid in the chat. I'll mention that in a second.
You just ignore chat for now. It's just
Okay. But even if that specific cop, that's put his knee on George Floyd's neck for that long. Even if he himself wasn't racist, this disproportionately happens to black people. In a confrontation between a black person and a cop, they're 80% more likely to die than a white person and a cop. That's just like how it is, right? And this is just, so even if that guy wasn't specifically racist, it just goes to show that most of these people, that many of these confrontations were probably race motivated, whether they knew it or not.
Oh, by the way, I just sorry, Bishop, but I'm sorry if I'm destroying your train of thought or anything, but I just wanted to say, if you have like sources or something and somebody asks for sources, you can post those sources in Nevada just to give you an idea, just the idea of it. All right, go ahead, Bishop.
Oh, I wish I knew that earlier. Okay, thank you. All right.
Next time I'll do better. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. So, okay, okay. I kind of lost my train of thought. What was your, basically, what was your point, Koda? Could you remind me?
Yeah, I was basically just saying, I mean, there's no way that we can specifically like point at, one cop and be like, he's a racist. But I'm just saying this disproportionately happens to black people. Therefore, there is definitely something race motivated there. And what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter if a cop is racist or not. In that situation, he should be tried for the crimes that he committed, of course.
Did you, so, think about the core of racism. It's simple pattern recognition.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, your mic's cut out.
I think his mic just died.
Hang on, I'm looking at my source right now.
We can hear you. Hello.
All right, whatever. Anyways, I was lost my train of thought for a second. Okay.
Pat, you said last thing you said before your mic cut out was it's simple pattern recognition.
Was my microphone moving the whole time?
You said it's simple pattern recognition, and then you went quiet.
Good grief. Oh, good grief. That's too much. Just forget anything I said about that. Anyways, so I think, okay, so we're on the subject about the okay, you were saying that it was
When is he gonna 13
as
15
a statistic that they were disproportionately that was black people who were statistically being arrested by police officers or shot. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna change. I'm not gonna repeat anything I said because that was really mouthful. Let's say that. Okay. I don't think. Do you think that it was because? Do you think it's because it was basically motivated by the race? Because statistics also say that black people commit 50% more crimes
Right.
than white people.
The great statistic which you're referring to is despite making up 13% of the population, black people commit 50% of violent crime. Which it's actually 50% of homicide, and then when you say violent crime in general, it actually goes down to 1337. But with that statistic, it's really simply explained by the socioeconomic positions which we put black people in, such as, for example, black people, they have worse schooling, they're put in worse neighborhoods, redlining has still effect to this day, they're less likely to get loans, and when you're poor, it's really hard for you to make money, basically, and a lot of people would end up resorting to crime or something.
Does it have anything to do with cops, though?
Well, you see, okay, so let's, for example, right? So you bring up a good point, and I talk about this myself, and I say we should fix the economic system first before we start focusing on the police. But when it comes to the police as well, you see a lot of examples where, how are police, okay, so let me give you this scenario basically. There's, a black person and a white person driving, you know, a cop doesn't know that black people commit this much more crime, or he doesn't know that this black person is necessarily a criminal, but he still pulls over the black person instead of the white person. right, at a disproportional rate. So cops don't know, which black person is actually, a criminal per se. So there's definitely some iffy things going on right there.
Mhm. The thing is, does it seem? I don't think it has. I don't think it has. The system being rigged against them has anything to do with the cops, though. But anyways, I'll make a. I'll make another point. I'll give you an example. This happened back. This was actually a real thing that happened. So, two guys. They were both white. Bear in mind.
Sounds anecdotal.
They killed two cops, and then they threw them in the ditch. One of them was the police chief's son, I believe. And they were walking through, I think they found them in the parking lot. And the entire police force, well, basically more than half the department, ambushed them. And they didn't even give them a chance to surrender. And these were white people, bear in mind. So think about that, and think about how they would do a black person.
Okay, I've
They
thought
would,
about it, and it
yeah.
sounds pretty anecdotal.
What do you mean by that?
So what I mean is you're telling a story and not. I hate to kind of attack you like this and not giving any actual statistics.
But the thing, I mean, this is real information. Now, here's the thing: why would they be? Your point you're making is that you're standing by is that they are genuinely race, prejudiced against or biased against specific races, and they're usually in favor of white people, right?
Yeah, so I would say that.
So why wouldn't they give them a chance to surrender?
I don't like this is this very, you know, I can okay. So this is very anecdotal evidence. So like, in this case, probably the cops, I'm sure, I'm gonna start, doing anecdotal evidence as well. I'm sure the cops felt very attacked, because, they attacked police officers or they killed two police officers, you said, right? So I'm sure the cops didn't want to give them a chance anyway. And in that situation, I'm sure black or white, they probably would have shot him anyway. But I'm just saying, with some actual, I can give you some sightings and things, but like the the overall consensus I'm making is that black people are disproportionately affected by, police brutality and arresting and pulling over. And like, it doesn't really matter if this one cop shot this white guy one time. Like, that doesn't disprove the entire argument that cops are racist.
All right. Do you think it's the cops? Okay. Do you think is it the cops' fault or is it the system's fault? In your opinion?
I think it's the system's fault. You know, I don't think like cops at heart are bad people. I mean, they go into the force for a reason. So I don't think cops at heart are bad people. I think it is the system.
But what was that about all the cops, pulling over generally black guys, being genuinely prejudiced against black guys
Well, yeah, because
earlier?
they're influenced by the system. So even though they go in with good intentions, they get this influence, and they get pretty much raised in this way of, learning about how, black people commit more crime and blah 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 blah, and and they watch all these TV shows or something. You know what I'm saying? Like basically they're groomed, and they have this race-driven implicit bias that they don't really know about, which is affecting them. And this connects with the system because the system doesn't do anything to stop it. And in some cases, police chiefs have encouraged it in some ways.
So, okay, what I'm getting from that is that they're subliminally racist. Is basically what you're saying. Am I right?
Right, like they don't know they're necessarily racist, but you can't stop this implicit bias, like I said.
I honestly never heard of that.
Right. If you want me to, I can send you some things on like implicit bias.
I'm sorry, what was that?
If you've you said you never heard of implicit bias before.
No, I've never heard of I never heard about people being. I've never heard of racism being a subliminal thing.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess like you can define it as subliminal or like yeah, they don't necessarily consciously are racist, but that's the whole thing with implicit bias. And implicit bias is this thing where, they make quick and rash judgments, and this judgment is often based on race, right? And they make this quick and rash judgment, and even though they don't know they made this racially charged judgment, they're still making that judgment. So it is kind of subliminary, yeah. I guess you can put it that way, yeah.
It sounds kind of far-fetched to me.
But yeah, here, let me just put some sources in the chat if you want some. It's not very far-fetched.
I'll read it. I'll read one of them if we have enough time.
You don't have to like read all of them. So the first four were mostly about traffic stops and the first three, I'm sorry. The first three were about traffic stops and disproportional police arresting black people and things. And then the fourth one, the most recent one I sent with the little paragraph under it, is about implicit bias. And then there's some other ones if you want them.
Yes. I'm just glancing at these.
We've been going for about 50 minutes. The timer runs out in about 5 minutes because I restarted after the most recent topic. If you guys want to, we can either stop when the timer runs out, or we can just go to 9.
Your
Well-
choice, Bishop.
All right. Well, we're just gonna go to 9 because it's an even number, and I like even numbers.
That's straight. Yeah, and it doesn't just affect police officers, it affects a lot of people. But, in the case of
Right.
police officers, it's the most important there, and that's where we need to focus because, me walking down the street, if I have an implicit bias, I'm not going to take out my gun and shoot someone. But the police have that ability, and they have done it before.
Oh yeah, the police statement. Yeah, right. I'm sure this is more. This seems. I've read a little bit of this, and it looks so much like conspiracy theories and stuff.
Yeah, so that is an actual study, not a conspiracy theory.
Oh, but then the conclusions are like conspiracy theories. Like it makes them all look like. I noticed that this makes them all look like they were just one hive mind.
Right. Well, that's the thing with implicit bias is it affects almost everyone. And that's, a problem that we have today. Even, I am subject to implicit bias. It's just, actually recognizing that it's a thing is something people have a hard time with. But, with implicit bias training, like I mentioned before, we can get over it. But, it would be for cops mostly, not actual citizens.
All right, I'm going to ask you a question.
All right.
How do we? Okay, so how do we? Do you plan to, chart? How do we? Okay, yeah, I'll word it like this. Do you plan to ever, have the police officers be charged for their actions? For wrongfully shooting a black guy because he was a racist. Like, how do you punish him for that?
I mean,
Because he can't because it's pretty apparent that he can't really help it because it's apparently implicit bias. So at this point, it's like It's like he can't help it. It seems like. So should he be blamed for it?
I mean, if a cop shoots a black guy for no reason, I think he should be charged with murder. I mean, that's how a judicial court
Yeah.
system works.
No, I'm talking about because of implicit bias, like you stated.
I mean, we won't know if it's caused by implicit bias, but if if the cop commits a crime, like he shoots a black guy, whether or not it was caused by implicit bias, he should still be charged from it. Like it's not like, let's say, if a cop shoots a black guy, but he wasn't influenced by reason, like implicit bias, and the black guy was completely innocent or whatever, and he had no reason to shoot. That doesn't mean the cop isn't going to be charged. The cops should still be charged.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, it's not justified shooting, and therefore should be charged. That's incompetence. So, do you think that the protesting helps? Do you think that the protesting helps prevent illicit bias in the police?
I think, okay, so protesting, especially with Black Lives Matter protesting, I think it brings, a lot of these subjects into light because they weren't, being discussed as highly as they should be, I think. So, I mean, when it comes to like protests, I think it's really just about getting people's attention and realizing that it's a thing. And there's been some changes made because of protests, like stopping the use of chokeholds, which, could reduce police brutality and fatality when they meet with a person that they've restrained. So I think protests overall have a pretty positive effect, yeah.
What about the kind of protesting where they like burn down stuff and they're doing the property damage?
Right,
Is that
yeah. I
Is
mean,
that kind? Do you approve of that? Do you think? Would you say that's a good thing? Would you say that they're doing just?
no, not particularly. I don't think rioting is always. I think instead of so I don't support rioting. Okay, I'm just gonna say that before I make my next point, so I don't sound stupid. But I don't support rioting. But I also believe we should focus more on what's causing the rioting. So these people are rioting because they feel like they're being oppressed systemically by implicit biases in the police department and higher up powers and stuff like that. Not to mention that 93% of the BLM protests were peaceful, and that's from police statistics.
It sounds like we need to weed out the protesters that burning down stuff more than the police officers. Seems like they're doing a lot more chaos than them.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you burn down a building, it's a crime and you should be prosecuted, so.
Okay, but we agree on that.
Yeah, I mean, same thing, like, there's a lot of weird stuff with like, I don't doubt that there were definitely some riots by Black Lives Matter protesters or anything. But there was this, now I'm gonna use anecdotal evidence here, because it seems like you like it, just as much as I like using it sometimes. Where, I mean, there was this article that, shows that one of the rioters at a Black Lives Matter protest, when he was arrested, turns out he was just had ties with white supremacists. So it was like sometimes these rioters were not even like Black Lives Matter protesters and just like idiots.
Like, was it like what do you mean by white supremacists? Was he in the KKK or what?
He had ties to hold on, it was what organization? Um, he was arrested and then let's see. Hold on, I'm just checking the article real quick. So he said the suspect is associated with the Aryan Cowboys, which is a prison gang out of Minnesota and Kentucky. It's a white supremacist prison and street gang.
I heard about that one.
Yeah, I mean, just by the name, the Aryan Cowboys, you can tell they're very hospitable to the black population.
Should we be okay?
We got 3
Should we be
minutes
picking
left.
on the cop? Yeah, I'm gonna just make one more.
I'll tell you if you're
one
going
more
off
thing.
topic. This is basically just is VLM valid and like riots / protests or whatever that
Oh,
counts as like
okay,
bad
shut up,
topics.
Jason.
That's good.
Let him make his
So,
point.
all right, I'm gonna do it before I run out of time. Do we? Okay, so should we be picking on the cops right now, or should we be more worried about the the corruption? Should we be more targeting the cops for their corruption, or should we be targeting the BLM's corruption and their raids?
I don't think the BOM corruption is as pertinent. Well, I say that, you know, indicatively, but I would say the BOM corruption, as you say, is mainly just people getting out of hand. But when we talk about police corruption, I think it's much more pertinent because that's everyday life. I mean, the riots aren't happening right now. And they were happening for, I would say, probably about 1 to 2 weeks. And then they pretty much stopped after that. There was a case here and there, but I mean, but police is every day. I mean, there's, thousands of people killed by police every year, you know, in a lot of cases and stuff like that. So I think really the police are much more pertinent than any like rioters or anything.
The thing is, the BLM seems to be, the most. It seems to me like most of the riots were, encouraged or en- encouraged by the BLM community. It seems like BLM was the one who was encouraging the riots.
I would definitely not say that. Considering if you like, so basically, as BOM went on, it was like 60% of the United States supported BOM, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I know it was the majority of the United States. But then if you ask them, it was something like 90% of those, did not support rioting. So these, like, the Black Lives Matter movement and the people a part of it, were not, encouraging rioting. And if you look at many of the videos, it's really like 10 guys going burning down a building, and a lot of the other people were also stopping it. I mean, there were some cases here and there where there were large crowds of rioters, but in, you know,
I've
national
seen
terms.
videos. Sorry to cut you off, but I've seen videos of people like burning down buildings and screaming "fuck f the cops" and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a thing. People do that. Um, yeah, like that's just like I said, that's some people riot like that, but I think saying that we should focus completely on the rioters and just like kind of not care about what the police are doing is, I think, just a little weird.
I was gonna say real quick, we're at 9:01 right now, so I was gonna just let Bishop have like closing statements, and then I guess we can vote, and then we'll be done on that. So, or we'll be done with this topic. So.
If your dry eye symptoms keep coming back,
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I mean, like I said, this is pretty anecdotal evidence. Like I can just, like, for every piece of anecdotal evidence you have with like the riot declared in Portland, I can just send one like this where black protesters beg white people to stop destroying shit. Because if you notice, a lot of the rioters were also white people. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. So, Bishop, you gonna have closing statements because wait,
yeah,
actually, yeah, I'm pretty yeah. Bishop, go ahead and closing statements, and then we'll Aiden, you can also have closing statements, and then we'll just
all right. Well,
yeah.
this video right here, as you can see on that video posted right there, it's pretty clear that riots are still happening. That's pretty much the only point I have to make.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that riots are still a thing, and they're still happening, but I still
You
believe
said
that.
they weren't.
Well, I said they're happening here and there. I'm not saying that, like like the riots during George Floyd were much different than the single Portland riot that's happening, that you just sent, which I didn't actually know about that. That's interesting. And I think that might have been caused by Walter Wallace's shooting, but um, but like if you look at George Floyd, it was in, a couple of good cities, but now it's grown down a lot. I mean, if you look at it, but even if the riots was still happening, these people are not going to stop no matter what you do. Like, Donald Trump tried sending the federal police. It didn't work. It made everything worse. Riots went up. Actually, like property damage went up. That just didn't help at all. But in the meantime, I think if you just start, doing or saying that you're gonna start doing police reform and stuff like what the rioters are mainly fighting for, I think that'll help.
I don't believe that more long. I do believe that people should. Oh wait, no, sorry. I forgot.
I'm sorry, you cut out there. What'd you say?
I forgot that we were making closing statements, so never mind.
Yeah, I was just gonna, because we're at 9. It's about 9 right now, so 9:03 for me. Or like 11:03 for you, I guess. But yeah, so I guess everyone can just vote again. So B is Bishop and K is Kodite. Yeah.
I think half the people in this chat are dead.
Half the people in this chat are dead. That is true. Okay, thank
Despite
I don't know what type of vote that is.
Yeah.
I think
I'm gonna say that goes to me.
Yeah, as king of racism on this server, I can say that it definitely goes to me for being the best mod.
Yes, I agree.
Yes. All right. Yeah, it's pretty. Okay, no, never mind. That's 3-2. Kodite. All right, this was pretty fucking epic. I'll try to do a better job with organizing next time, and maybe we can get like an actual white supremacist on. That'd be really fun.
Yeah, can we send Bishop a better mic as well?
The prize is actually a better
Please.
mic. So.
Oh, so I get a better mic. Okay, I'll send my old one to Bishop.
Oh yeah, I don't know. You guys, everybody, I think did pretty good. I'm actually quite happy with the fact this was able to happen because I tried doing this earlier, but like with a different it was gonna be Kodite versus like another conservative dude who was actually a white supremacist, but he canceled on me. So
Coward.
yeah, kind of sucks. Oh god damn it! Don't get my server banned. I know I've only just created it. Don't let it get banned.
No, it's fine. Like KKK use Discord all the time. Like it's true.
That's a good point, I guess. Sure. Yeah. So that. I think that went pretty good. You guys can. We're basically done now. You can do whatever. I'll just tally the scores for like each section or each like topic.
So I'm running on like 3 hours of sleep right now, and I want to go play video games.
You should probably go to bed.
Well, no, I'm not gonna go sleep. I'm gonna go play like a video game.
All right, go game. I guess.
Unless Bishop is like very pertinent on continuing this, I'm gonna head out.
You guys continue on your own time. This is get out of my server. I don't know.
Okay, all right. It was fun talking to Bishop and for 3 seconds with Pond.
Yeah,
But
I think yeah, that went quite. That was slightly better than I expected, I guess. So.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were gonna start talking about BLM. I wasn't ready for that to come off guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not know what to talk about BLM either.
You guys agreed on too many. You guys agreed on too many things. I thought I asked you guys about like what you agreed on, but I guess I was wrong. So.
Oh wait, okay, can I make one final point? I think like so have you heard of the things like with BLM? It's called Alden's number.
Don't think I'm familiar.
Okay, never mind. You didn't fall for it. Okay, have a good night. Oh. Goodbye.
Don't cite all. Okay, rule 4: don't cite Alden's number.
I will.
It's too powerful. It's too powerful.
Okay. All right. Goodbye. That was fun. I guess that's gonna make for a long ass video. All right. See you guys.